Hey everyone! 1 second. You've waited this long. Am I right? But, here we go. Boom. Now we have music. Okay. How's everybody been? Welcome to Saturday Morning Toy Tunes, the what used to be weekly live stream on my channel, in which we all gather around the modern day campfires of our computer monitors and iPhone screens and talk about things that happen in the weekend geek. I am still Terry Smith, the host of the show when it actually happens. And yeah, I've been gone for how long has it been? Months, I know. It was meant to be until the end of the year. And then I kind of started liking having my weekends free. And I had a lot of stuff that I was doing on those weekends. So, and I didn't have a lot of figures to show. So, but now that's been alleviated. I have like a stockpile of figures ready to unbox and pose and show to you all and try to make them look as good as I can. Looking here right now, just want to make sure that I am indeed live, and I am live. Okay, cool. And hopefully I have sound. Hopefully everything's looking good here because it's been a while. Again, I haven't really been. Is the mic connected? The mic may not be connected. Can you hear nothing at all? That's annoying. Let's see. That is annoying. So let me check this. Audio. Oh, it's the studio display microphone. Yeah, let me try that. That should be better. How's that? Is that better? All right, cool. I think that should be better. There we go. Okay, thank you, Keith Lee. Once again, sounding off. It's good to have him in my corner, sometimes literally. He does live close by, so we get to hang out periodically. Got to see, what did we go see together? Captain America, with the new Captain America movie, which was fun. I liked that a lot. Okay, before we move on to the usual rigmarole, I'm going to just talk a little bit about what I've been up to, what I've been doing, what's been going on, and why I've been gone. So, it all boiled down to social media and I don't want to call it an addiction. I was using it too much though. I was doing, I think, what everybody was doing. Everybody is doing what too many people do. I was on it too much. It got to the point where I was looking at my weekly screen report on my iPhone alone, and it was showing between 8 and 9 hours. So on a good week, it was like down to like 7.5 hours per week, or per day. That's it, 7.5 hours per day. And I recognized that it was interfering in my life in a way that a lot of addictions do. When you talk about, let's say, alcoholism, you know you have a problem when you notice that your drinking begins to impact your life. And social media was definitely doing that for me. Not only was I spending too much time on it, but it was affecting my mood. It was not making me happy. Quite the opposite. It was just making me miserable. So I took a long, hard look at my social media usage. I took a long, hard look at what it was doing to my life and said, no more. No mas. I'm not going to be doing this anymore. So I immediately, I think the final straw was when Zuck said that he was doing away with fact-checking on Facebook and all of the meta platforms. And the very next day, I tuned into Threads, which was my safe haven, because for whatever reason, right out of the gate, as soon as I started a Threads account, it really had me figured out. The algorithm had me pegged. It was showing me all the cool things that I liked. It was showing me uplifting posts from people who were fans of the same things that I was, and I was enjoying it immensely. It was just like, I was enjoying it so much that I didn't even comment or post anything because I was afraid I was going to screw up the algorithm. So that became my thing. I mean, I was still doing Facebook. I was still looking at people's Instagrams, not posting on it. I had done away with X a long time ago, Twitter. I'm just not going to call it X. Let's call it Twitter. And the day after Zuck said that there was going to be no more fact checking, I logged on to threads, and immediately everything had changed. It was just this toxic soup of anger and rage and people finger pointing and just screaming. And I was like, no, that's it. If I don't even have a safe haven in the form of one social media account, and I know that Blue Sky's out there, we can talk about that or not, I don't even care anymore, then I just can't do that anymore. So I gave up social media and got back on coffee. Seriously though, I deleted all social media apps from my phone. They continue to be deleted to this day, and they will continue to remain off my phone for the foreseeable future. In fact, I'm even thinking about going back to having a flip phone. Yeah, it's true. Because I recently heard from a friend out in the North California area that if you go to San Francisco and you hang out with a lot of people in tech, they're all using flip phones because they know something that is not being shared. They know something. They don't want their employers to know what they're getting up to. They know something. I don't know what it is. No one's saying what it is, but apparently flip phones are all the rage among tech geeks, tech bros out in San Francisco, out in the Bay Area. If you know anything about this, feel free to comment either in the chats or in the comments below if you're watching this in a rerun. But let me know because I'm very curious. What's this? All right, we'll get to the comments here in a bit. So yeah, so the hate was just getting to me, and I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. I was talking to Guy Klender yesterday, and Guy brought up an interesting point. There's this thing that happens when you're a fan of something that other people may not be a fan of, and if it's a toxic fan who's got an axe to grind about a particular thing, let's just say the Acolyte, then as soon as I would bring up how much that I would enjoy the Acolyte, sure enough, in the conversation in the crowd, there's some jackass who thinks he needs to tell you everything that's wrong with the Acolyte. And you hear this kind of thing from multiple people throughout the days and weeks and months or whatever. And it's always the same complaints. So, and once you've heard one person's reasons for vociferously disliking a particular thing, the Acolyte again in this case, then you've heard it all before. And once you hear it again and again from multiple people ad nauseum, it really does wear on you. It's exhausting. And I just don't want to deal with that from people anymore. And social media is where that happens most often. Typically, when you're having a conversation in person with somebody, it's a completely different ballgame, and you're not having to deal with they lack that shield that's in the form of their computer monitor or their iPhone screen. So they have a tendency to be much more nice. Plus, there's that whole thing that when we're designed, as humans, we've evolved to have face-to-face conversations with each other. There's nuance that happens in a conversation when you're face-to-face with somebody. There are facial expressions and whatnot, hand gestures. Look at the way I'm moving my hands right now while I'm talking to you. And that's lacking. So you don't get those little subtle hints of what somebody's intention is. So everything beyond what you're reading in the type is open to interpretation. And if you're having a bad day, your tendency could be to start to misinterpret somebody's tone. And let's face it, not everybody's a great writer. In fact, let's just go ahead and say 90% of people out there on social media don't know how to properly express themselves through the written word. Bitter Troll just made a great comment, and I want to get to that at some point. Maybe not right now, but yeah, eventually. So because the writing style of most people is ambiguous, and you're left open to interpretation, then it's very easy, especially if you can have a tendency to get defensive about something that you really care about. It becomes very easy to just assume that they're being assholes. And I have a tendency to do that. I've had so many people say so much toxic crap about things that I enjoy that it's like my brain defaults right to, okay, this is another one of those people. So I'm guilty of it as well. And I don't want to walk in that world anymore. I want to hang out with real people in a real place and actually engage with them. So yeah, if ever, so I'll just go ahead and say this right now. If in the future, and I do intend to continue these live streams going forward, if ever in the future I read somebody's comment and I respond to it, and you're like, wait, what? Why are you being so harsh? Then understand that it's probably because I just misinterpreted whatever you wrote. I misinterpreted your intent and your tone. And feel free to just go ahead and speak up and be like, no, that's not what I meant. Because sometimes that becomes important in a modern digital society. You know, I just watched last night while this massive thunderstorm and tornado were blowing over my house. What's it called? It's the new movie with Chris Pratt and that girl that plays Eleven. Once again, I'm a lot of things have changed with me, but forgetting people's names, actors' names, is apparently not one of them. Directed by the brothers, the Everly brothers, the Isley brothers, the Wachowski brothers. Dead named. Okay. Anyway, it's very clearly a commentary on the digital world, on social media, to a certain extent. It's not all there. It's not. I will say this: if you haven't seen it, God, what's it called? It's the movie. It's about an alternate reality in which robots became predominant back in the 50s with Walt Disney and evolved into a whole different society where they were our servants, and they revolted and they wound up being put into this no man's land. And let's see if anybody's actually... Electric State. Thank you, Bitter Troll. Thank you, Steve Nara, and everybody else who probably wrote that as well. Electric State is, by the way, the first few minutes that I was like, this is just... I don't think I dig this. And, you know, my default state is when I recognize that I'm liking something, I automatically default to maybe it just wasn't made for me. But then I realized, yeah, that's exactly the case. And I feel like what we're watching with Electric State is, I feel like the Russos made it, and thank you for rattling off everybody's names, Millie Bobby Brown, the Russo brothers. I feel like the Russo brothers have made a movie for kids. And if I'm right, and if it's meant to be a commentary about social media and about living in a digital world, and I think it's pretty obvious when you watch it, then they've chosen the right audience. And you can tell in a similar way that when you're watching, and God, I guess I haven't even done a show since Skeleton Crew came out, but it's kind of similar to Skeleton Crew. I had the same experience with Skeleton Crew. It wasn't vibing with me, and I figured that it wouldn't because I'd read the screenplay. But when I saw it in person, I thought, well, maybe once I get the visuals in there and everything, it'll totally change for me. But it didn't. It was still the same thing. I wasn't vibing with it. And again, they made a TV show that's basically for kids. And the dialogue reflects that. And some of the storytelling elements are going to reflect that. Same thing happening with Electric State. So if you haven't seen Electric State yet, and there's a good chance you haven't because it just dropped yesterday, then go into it with that in mind. I really feel like this was a movie made for kids. The dialogue kind of gives that away. It's such a simplistic sort of dialogue. I don't want to say it's dumbed down, but it's kind of like when journalists are supposed to be writing at like at no higher than an 8th grade reading level. For that reason, they want to make their stuff more accessible to a less educated audience, or, you know, a less adult audience. Then that's kind of how it goes. And if you watch it, you'll see immediately what I'm talking about. It's pretty obvious. Anyway, I guess that's my soapbox done. 15 minutes of soapbox stuff. Maybe that'll become a thing. Maybe I'll have a topic I want to just expound about for 15 minutes at the beginning of every live stream, and then we'll dive into catching up with what all my... And by the way, I was about going to say catch up with what all my friends were doing in chats. And I do... It's really wild, man, because the relationship between a YouTuber and regulars who show up in the comments and live streams and video premieres and whatnot, it's a new thing for me. And what I came to realize over time was that, yeah, in a very unfamiliar way, you guys have become kind of friends. kind of in the same way that people that you meet online frequently do. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I missed you guys. So it's good to be back, and it's good to see so many familiar faces. How many people are even here? 19? Yeah, I didn't expect a lot. I've been gone for a long time. I haven't checked my subscriber count. I know that this morning I lost one. What was the comment? This is great. Did he comment again? Because I got back to him right away. But there was a guy that commented on one of my videos today, and I'm gonna just go ahead and read it. Aomare, the chick magnet net handle Aomare. That big fan of Lord of the Rings too, dude. So if you're watching this, then yeah, I'm right there with you. Great character, great actor. Most videos only as a channel member. Laughing emoji. So one of my favorite things is people who use the laughing emoji to express sarcasm. Be better. That's a joke. Have fun in your life and bye. And I replied, I'm like, I think that what happened is the guy went to my channel probably for the first time, and he went straight to videos. Instead of looking at live streams and videos together, he went straight to the videos. And he probably noticed that the only pre-made videos that I've made in the past year, 2 years, something like that, have been those 4K 360 turnarounds of the final poses for figures that I hit here on the live stream. And those are exclusively for channel members. The whole channel membership thing is something that I experimented with for a while. It's still active. If you're a channel member, then you're probably still a channel member. Maybe you've forgotten you've been sending money to this channel every month and you want to change your mind. That's fine too. No, but I'm not pressuring anybody to become a channel member. I do appreciate channel members, and I get a little bit of money for the channel. It helps to pay for the music that you're listening to here. It helps to pay for the StreamYard account, and maybe when we start getting enough, we'll actually be able to we can afford giveaways here at some point in the future. But we can't yet. We're getting there. All right, let's check out the comments, see who's here. Beskar Kid, first one out of the gate. And I read this earlier, probably my favorite comment of all time. So freaking appropriate. Good to have you back here, bro. Thank you very much. I want to let you know that I've been in remodel mode in the studio back there for the past week or 2 weeks because everything's changing with first looks. Now, I didn't come here to talk about work. That's been my motto here, and it still remains the same. But periodically, work is going to come into it because these things kind of tend to cross-pollinate. But I put in a bunch of IKEA shelves, those Kallax, the cube things, and currently, I only have one personal figure on those Kallax shelves, and it is, in fact, the Umbra Operative ARC Trooper that you gifted to me way back when. So thank you very much for that. It looks really cool, just kind of popping out of all that black, just that really awesome yellow skull visage on his helmet and everything. So yeah, thanks again for that. It's a great gift, and I very much appreciate it. Jalgron 2. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that, but I probably am. There again, disturbance in the force. Yeah. Very cool to have you here. And Keith Leo with the super chat. Thanks very much, dude. My good friend Keith. Is Allie with you as well? Hope you guys are doing well. Like I said, it's been like a month since I heard from you. Feel free to tell me what you thought of Captain America and what's it called? Don't tell me. Don't type it. I'll remember it. Brave New World. Yeah. Which was supposed to be called something else. New World Order. But I guess that was too dark. If not accurate. If not inaccurate. Anyway, look, the hibernation is over. Indeed. Fun fact. I don't know if I brought this up during my last live stream, but this has been something that's been going on since I last did a live stream. But as of today, I've been sober, completely sober for 120 days. That's right. No more beer, no more wine. Whiskey I gave up a long time ago. That was just doing bad things to me. So yeah, 120 days sober. Hoorah. Bad Wolf. Hey, Mike. What's up, dude? Why didn't that pop up? There we go. Were you the first? I just had you up. Okay, never mind. Universal Q with a super chat. Thank you very much, sir. Good to see you back here. Thank you for joining us. Steve Nar with a hell yeah. Oh, you got a migraine? I got a bit of a headache myself. I'm going to see a pain management specialist on Monday. It's to do with that car crash a year and a half ago. That's still lurking about. But yeah, my neck has really been bugging me. I've been getting bad muscle spasms in my upper back, and I'm on muscle relaxers so that I can sleep at night. Hopefully not getting addicted to those. Give up booze, start taking up pills, man. Pills are the new booze. Good coffee. Piper's Coffee. If you've got it. I think they have it in Nashville. Bitter Troll. If you're can't remember how close you are to Nashville, but I think that they started in Nashville. Tennessee company that sprung up in St. Louis as well. David Luncheon calling me the man with the golden voice, which has been a moniker that I've had since 1994, when I was a TV radio minor at Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville. So yeah, good to see that's still lingering. Yeah, the booze was also fucking with my voice. Not in a good way. If Terry comes out of his holes and sees his shadow, means 4 more weeks of winter. I did, in fact, see my shadow this morning. And it is supposed to get cold next week. At least here. Not sure what you guys have. Laura Keelis is here. What's up? Good to see you, Laura. What have we here? How was that? How was my Lando impression? Is it still there? It used to be pretty good. No, man. In fact, no, I won't say anything. I'm going to let it be a surprise. Yeah. Let me pull up the calendar here. I'm just spitting everywhere. By the way, since my last live stream, my computer died. So, I don't think I can get it up high enough, but I'm rocking the, MacBook Pro. I can't, the cables are too tight, so I can't lift it up high enough for you to see. But yeah, it's a MacBook Pro that I'm sporting here now. And an awesome, sweet Apple Studio display. I've gone crazy financially the past 2 or 3 months. All new computer stuff, all new camera gear. God, what if I picked up 2 new camera bodies, and let's see, I got a Z8 and a Z6 III from Nikon, along with a 35mm f1.2, a 135mm f1.8 Plena, a 24-70 f2.8, a 70-200 f2.8, a 50mm f1.8. I think that's it. That's not enough. And there is a 14-24mm f2.8 on the way. I think it's 2.8, might be 1.8. Anyway, so yeah, I'm making a strong push to get back into photography. More on that later. It's evolving. Never. Look how pasty the skin is. Look at it. I am the whitest of the white. It's probably not true, but I don't need to wear white because I've got enough white just naturally. We shall take them to the white poser. I'm loving these Lord of the Rings references today. This is great. This should happen more often. Never. I can't grow mutton chops. Look at this. Seriously. Wait, other side. Yeah. I don't even have to trim there. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Let's see. Hey, you again. Okay. Quite everyone. There was a wild terrier in there. Yeah. What time was this? This was at 9:01. Yeah, that's when I was still struggling. I had to renew my subscription to Epidemic because I canceled it during the lull. So right when I was getting ready to go live, I was like, oh wait, they're gonna flag me. I don't need that. A wild Terry. That's kind of funny because there was a dude in a loincloth swinging from a vine on an episode I was watching last night of The White Lotus, which I've started binging. Gonna try to limit to one a day. That's another thing I'm trying to curb, is my tendency to uncontrollably binge watch TV shows. Is it not a glorious day of glory? Let's call it what it is, man. I feel like today is a pretty glorious day of glory. That storm that came through last night was hectic. We got like 2 inches of rain inside of an hour. Like I said, a tornado, at least one tornado blew over my house. And yeah, I've got the branches down in the backyard to prove it. I've got my work cut out for me today. How did you know? I think this is legitimately the first time I've used this setup since... I don't think I've even tested all this since I got the new computer gear. So it's a miracle that it was even plugged in properly. And the only thing I had to change was a setting in StreamYard. What's this? Lots of cow puns and reporting on a wet cold. Yeah, it's supposed to get more rain later, and once that settles in, I'm going to climb up on my roof and see if all that hail damaged it. I wish I could... I wish that I could get this video that's on my phone. I shot a video of myself in bed last night when all the hail was coming down, and it sounded amazing. Nailed it, Steve, nailed it. Let's see what this... No, you know what I'm not? I'm not that guy who puts on comfortable pants when he's home. Like, I climb out of bed and I'm wearing pajama pants when I sleep. And I immediately remove those pants and replace them with jeans before I even leave the bedroom. Jeans are that much ingrained in my world. Linda's here. What's up, Linda? Linder Hill. Nice. Another Lord of the Rings reference. Good to see you too, Laura. Welcome back. Yeah, that's bokeh for you. And this is the old 35mm. By old, I mean it's like 3 years old, 2 years old, 3 years old. But it's at 1.8. But that 1.2... if I were to put that on the camera and take it all the way down to there, you wouldn't be able to tell what's behind me. It is amazing. Bokeh for days, I told Keith Lee earlier. Is the music still loud? I've turned it down since starting. Oh, I think probably the camera mic, or not the camera mic, but it was the mic on the monitor. There's apparently a mic on the studio display. I had no idea. But apparently the mic on the studio display was what was being used when I turned it on, and that is more omnidirectional than this guy. So we're just now catching up to where I went live? Wow, I'm slow. Don't want to skip anybody though. Primetime Reviews, hope you have been well. I'm great to see you back. Thank you, man. I've been mostly well. I had a bout with the flu. It was weird. I got some upper respiratory nonsense. I think it was just a really bad cold in hindsight. I thought it was the flu at the time, but I got over it pretty quickly. Missed a few days of work, a couple days, something like that. Got better, and then a week later, I went out for dinner with some friends, and I was the last one to arrive. I was on time. They were just early. And walked up to the table, and I saw one of my friends had a Kleenex in his hand, and he just wiped his nose with it. And when he saw me approaching the table, he got up with the Kleenex still in his hand and went to shake my hand. And I was like, no, gave him the elbow. But still sat down at the table, and turns out that he was sick, and dude gave me the flu. Like 2 days later, I started to feel it, and then worst flu I've had in better part of a decade. Huddle under the covers, shivering. It was awful. And the cough is still lingering. I might have to cough during this show. But and that was like, what, 2-3 weeks ago? Yeah, this stuff lingers. I'm sure that everybody out there has had something at some point this season, but it's been a bad season. Cricket phone. I don't even know what that is. But don't tempt me, Frodo. Carrying on that Lord of the Rings thing. This is what I wanted to address. Bad writing is code for I'm a fragile person who can't come up with a good reason to hate it. Yeah, I feel like bad writing and plot holes, which kind of intertwine. I feel like that's a common excuse for people who don't understand the nuances of a particular story, film, comic book, any of that. I was married, still am. I hired a divorce lawyer. That's new. And she had a tendency. She's Gen X. I'm sorry, I'm Gen X. She's a millennial. And she had a tendency when we were watching something to just stay on her phone. Not even looking at the TV screen, just listening to it. And I feel like a lot of people do that. when they're watching TV. I know I do too often. So sometimes I miss stuff and have to go back and be like, wait, what was that about? Because it's a visual medium, and you really need to pay attention if you want to catch it all. Some of these, not the entire story isn't necessarily told with the dialogue. You have to watch the visual cues as well. And if you're missing that because you're on your phone, or because you're just not bright, then you might think, I don't know, and if you're not understanding it, your whole thing might just be, well, I don't get it, so it must just be bad writing. I feel like the people, and now I'm not saying that there's not bad writing out there. There definitely is. But it's the people who do this, who make TV shows, who make films. They do this for a living. They make a lot of money doing it. A lot of them do. And there's a reason for that. They're the best there is at their craft. So, if I don't get something, I automatically default to, what did I miss? What am I missing? It's not plot holes. It's holes in my understanding. That maybe I need to, and a clue to maybe focus more on it. Or if there is something I don't understand, then try to figure it out. And it's not like there's a lack of resources for that, right? I mean, you can just go to YouTube, and there's plenty of people out there who are influencers on YouTube or whatever social media account you want to look at, who make it, I don't know, they're hobbyists, most of them, I think. Most of them aren't professionals in the field. They just, they just have a hobbyist's understanding of it, which sometimes can be pretty damn solid. So if you're not understanding something, then Google it. Go to YouTube, do a search for it, and see if maybe they can explain it to you. And maybe, just maybe, those plot holes will be filled for you, and you'll realize that the holes aren't in the plot, they're in your understanding. There's nuance when talking to someone face to face. I can barely spell nuance. Yeah, did it twice in one. What are you talking about? You did it twice in one comment. You're doing fine. Let's scroll past the electric state stuff. Oh yeah, here we go. I love talking about this stuff. I have a friend who can't not make negative comments if I post about the sequel movies, which I enjoy. I was thinking about the sequel movies yesterday, and I'm still trying to come to a full understanding of what it is that I don't enjoy about them, because I have not seen a sequel movie in the past year, and I'm pretty sure that I don't think I can say that about OTers or prequels. I'm pretty sure that I've watched at least parts of all of those films in the past year. And I think that the problem lies at the top. Because my perception of the sequel movies is that there was no clear path for the story. And I think that it suffered from collisions and divisions on the part of the storytellers. Not going to name any names, but I hope that Disney's learned their lesson and Lucasfilm has learned their lesson, because even if he changed things throughout the course of making the first 6 films, Lucas at least had some idea of what the history was of his characters and of where they were going throughout the course of the original films. So, yeah. There's that. Kitty Willow's still with us. Dobby's still here, and we have a house guest named Ellie, the dog of my friends Ann and Eric, who have until yesterday were in Spain, and now they were supposed to be back already, but they got stranded in Philadelphia by these storms. So they're hanging out in Philadelphia today and coming home tomorrow, and I made them promise to shoot a video of Eric running up the steps to the Rocky statue. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Hey, Renz Tolentino. Renz Tolentino is here. Fabulous artist Renz Tolentino. It's one of the people that I miss seeing when I'm not on social media, but it's good to see you back here. Hope you're doing well, creating some great art. I bought tickets to see Ghost in July. I am not a massive fan of the new track. They They really went all in on the ABBA thing, I feel like. And I'm not sure how I feel about it. But then I didn't really care for the song from the Halloween movie at first either. So we'll see where that goes. Yeah, just heard a great quote regarding Ghost the other day. That they put the ABBA in Black Sabbath. That's just brilliant. If you don't get it, then spell out Black Sabbath and you will. Just spell out Sabbath and you'll get it. I live very alone and isolated out here in the sticks. You guys mean a lot to me. Oh man, sorry to deprive you of this small little 2-hour per week connection for as long as I did. You know, I actually considered moving back out into the sticks over the winter. Because same. I don't get out a lot. In fact, a good friend of mine from California was here last week, and we spent a couple of days together, and he was like, "You got to get out, man." I think he's worried about me developing Alzheimer's if I remain isolated. And I'm like, "No, man. I quit smoking and I quit drinking. I'm good. All I got to do is start exercising." Linda enjoyed the new cat movie. That's because it's enjoyable. Yeah, it's not. I don't know. Is it in-game level? Probably not, but it doesn't have to be. I talked about it till I'm blue in the face on this channel. It's a sliding scale of goodness, man. And if you're so freaking binary that all you can think about is terms of pass, fail, or badass sucks, I don't know. May not be the channel for you. Hey there, Terry. Thanks for comments on my Clone Wars vehicle display. Oh, that was you? Sweet. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, nice. I adjusted Anakin's knee. This is Lane. What? Okay, that makes sense. Okay. What prompted the name change? If you don't mind replying here. If not, just send me a private message if you want to. If you don't want to talk about it, then that's fine too. It's a day that ends in Y, so yes, I have a headache. Either physical or metaphorical, eh? One sympathizes. Oh, yeah, I guess that would do it, wouldn't it? Yeah, I didn't experience that, thank God. I had headaches of a different variety yesterday. We're trying to come to terms with a new format for first looks. Doing away with the white. So excited. So excited. I've got to be honest, and hopefully my bosses aren't watching this, but I've got to be honest, but that shooting those white backdrop videos over and over and over and over and over and over again were really starting to grate on my last nerve. It was so dull. And it was everything that it needed to be, and I get it, and I get the reasons behind doing it that way. People have been making white background videos since there's been YouTube. Look at, I'm trying to think of what's his name that does all of his videos with a white backdrop. Pixel Dan, the OG. One of the biggest YouTube toy influencers of all time. He doesn't limit himself to one particular brand or one particular scale or one particular anything. I mean, he's like an all-encompassing toy reviewer who's been doing it since before most YouTubers knew what Hot Toys was. So, yeah. Heavy fog there, huh? Okay. Oh, Tommy K's here. What's up, Tommy? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Good to see you, man. How's your neighbor? Busy, I'm guessing, because I don't think we've heard anything from him on YouTube for a long time. You just stop. Really loving it. Really loving the MacBook Pro. It's not what I wanted to get. I wanted to get a Mac Studio. A laptop isn't for me. I don't really need to take my computer with me. But at the time that my computer died, the Mac Studio was still using the M2 chip, maybe just the M1. I think it's the M2 though. And this is an M4. It's blazingly fast, extremely powerful. And I was like, I can do this. Hi, Ellie. Somebody here? Yeah? You protecting me? Good girl. Thank you. You're quiet now. Good girl, Ellie. Sweetest dog. Sweetest dog. And I just got the laptop, and my thought is I'm just going to use the laptop until Apple drops the M4 Mac Studio, and then I'll get that and probably sell this laptop. Because, again, I thought maybe I would start using the laptop, but I don't. This week, I just started bringing it to the bedroom or the couch periodically. Remember when I uploaded those photos for the studio test, the light and color test for the studio? That's the first time since I got this machine that I took it away from the desk. It's just being at my desk on my computer is so ingrained in my nature that I'm having a hard time breaking that habit. Oh, I got a hand-me-down Rebel 3 Ti. Nice, man. Yeah. I'm not sure what generation or when the 3 Ti was a thing. I don't follow Canon at all. But, I want to say that when I was shooting full-time at Sideshow, before they invested in a camera setup and lights for my studio, I was using a Rebel. So a lot of the solicitation images that Sideshow was using at the time that I first started working there were shot on a Rebel. So you're right, that is pro level. John Simonson is here. What's up, John? Good to see you. Yeah, they were, pretty thrilled. Oh, my attorney, of course, has to deal with finances, and she looked at the hit that my bank account took over the course of 2 months and was just like, how did you spend so much money in 2 months? Mac stuff, Nikon stuff. I've got new gutters on the house. I've got a new water heater. I've spent so many thousands of dollars in the past 2-3 months. It's obscene and painful. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people do. I was feeling, for the longest time, I felt self-conscious about it. But then something happens when you start growing a beard. For the first time, you start noticing other people with beards and how their beards come in. And yeah, you've got these guys that can do whatever. Their line is perfect around here and just goes, line's perfect. Just goes from like the lip all the way up to here so they can get the glorious mutton chops. And then there's people like me where it doesn't really start happening until like the jawline. So everything kind of has to grow and blend in. It takes time. But after I started growing my beard, I started realizing just by watching people, especially like British actors in films and television, it's common. Beards like mine are very common. I'd say it's like a 50-50 split between guys that can grow those big full beards. Looking at you, Rahul Kohli, if you're watching this. Bastard, you and your full beard. Or Paul Sun-Yun Lee. That man's got an enviable beard. White Lotus is really good, dude. It's really dark humor, whodunit kind of stuff told in really brilliant ways. Every season happens at a different resort. Like the first one happened. I don't even remember where the first one happened. One happened in Italy, and this one is happening in Thailand, which is fun for me because I've been to Thailand. It's entirely possible that I've turned the volume down on this thing at some point. So if anybody else is having trouble hearing me, then please let me know. Chris Kaz is here. Welcome back, dude. Good to see you. What are we up to? 30 viewers? What? That's crazy. Wow. We got another super chat. I'm not even sure what I should be calling you now. If I know your actual name, is it okay for me to call you by your actual name, Lane Kramer? If not, please let me know. Yeah, volume is soft, eh? Okay, let's see what I got here. How's that? I'm just going to keep talking, and I feel like that's where it was before. Hopefully I didn't just blow you out there, Mike. Terry just said things, the voice music ratio was good, okay. Yeah, I try to avoid that, actually. Yeah, so yeah, that's just something oh, look at that. The notorious BDP is here and he has become a member. I feel like you were a member before. You probably canceled when it looked like I was never coming back, and now you've resubscribed. So thank you for that. Thank you. That's big help. Garrett, what's up, Garrett? Thanks, man. I missed you guys too. It's fun to be here again. That's why I'm taking so long to do these follow through the comments here. Oh God. Yeah, man, it's freaking awful. Yeah, I got it late, which I usually do because I'm a recluse. BDP. Thank you again. Intertwined potholes, a brilliant description or oxymoron. Plot holes, intertwined plot holes. I guess it depends. There was this guy, like in my early days doing internet stuff, there was a website called askaninja.com. Sound off if you've heard of it. And I don't think he was a big hit until he took advantage of this whole Pirates versus Ninja thing at around the time of the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And he did and he's hilarious. He's on screen. He's like kind of big bone guy, with a thick New York accent, who was just like, here's the ninja with the ninja review of Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. And it's just this amazingly hilarious take on Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest, told from the perspective of a ninja who has a real problem with pirates. Ninjas of the Caribbean would have been a really great movie. Hilarious. Go on YouTube. You're on YouTube now, but and take a break if you have to, but do a search for Ask a Ninja Pirates of the Caribbean. And just watch and just be blown away by how hilarious it is. But one of the things that he talks about is how they just keep adding more plot lines to the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And like everybody who was in the first movie comes back for the second movie, and to one extent or another, they become a pirate. But the point that I'm going to make here is about plot lines. So like all these different plot lines just keep getting added to something that's so indescribably dense as a Pirates of the Caribbean movie that it can kind of look at him and just be like, oh, there's all these plot holes. I will go on record right here and now as saying that every single plot line that was introduced in Pirates of the Caribbean was wrapped up by the end of the third movie. All of them. All of them. And if you think otherwise, you need to go back and watch them again. Write down what you think is a plot hole, and then follow that specifically throughout the course of your rewatch. Because I guarantee it was wrapped up. Everybody see that tangent? Just... Everybody's happy to see BDP, as always. Yeah, dude, that's annoying. That's interesting. That's a good explanation right there, Mike, because yeah, that is the difference. You have to be able to articulate what is bad about it accurately. Oh, hello, Gina. Good to see you. Yeah, that's one part of it, isn't it? Yeah. There are good bits. There are enjoyable bits for me when it comes to the prequels. I really enjoyed the first one. From beginning to end. I don't think that there was anything that I didn't enjoy about it. And I still say my favorite prequel as a standalone film to watch from beginning to end is still The Last Jedi. But I will admit that the choices that were made by the director were contributed to the overall, the way that the films were received as a whole. The trilogy was received as a whole. because then the first director comes back and has to fight to regain the things that he was trying to do in the first movie, and a lot of screen time was wasted on that, and it felt kind of petty. And yeah. It's like, they were like, okay, well, the first trilogy, everybody loved that. Well, maybe part of it was because they had 3 different directors. Well, yeah, they had 3 different directors, but they also had the same, to one extent or another, they had the same guy at the helm who knew the story. The story was his. And while he had help in the form of Lawrence Kasdan, it was still his story, by and large. So, yeah. I'm just so shocked they didn't pick up on that. It's so goddamn annoying. Because all that is just... I mean, despite the fact that, yeah, I can find enjoyment in the sequels, the fact is that they are imperfect. And short of just retconning all of them, which we've lost so many of the original actors now, it was such a lost opportunity. Let's see this. I think they needed to start with the idea that the big bad was Palpatine, even if hidden until revealed. They needed to plan the overall arc, and that was a big failing. I feel like Palpatine, and this has been one of my problems with the final film, The Rise of Skywalker. It felt like they caved so much to what's the phrase that I'm looking for here? Fan service. They caved to the whole concept of fan service in that film on so many levels and in so many places, and that's really where it lost me. From the first viewing, I've never rolled my eyes at a Star Wars movie until I went to see The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, no kidding, right? I applaud that. I really do. Be in the moment, people. I mean, I'm historically as guilty of that as anybody. But my eyes are open now. I see where I was going wrong. Stupid. Absolutely stupid to spend so much time on cell phones. And I really, once this one's still being paid for, once it's done, I may just go ahead and give myself a smartphone break and just go with flip phone for a couple of days. Dancing Queen of Hell. I don't know what that is. Oh yeah, you really digging that? All right, well, you know. The video's great. I love the new look for Papa 4 and the Papa 5? Yeah, Papa V and the ghouls. They look great. I'm gonna miss that. I really, really loved the steampunkish look to the ghouls. And it's so ridiculously complex, and I would give any amount of money to have one of those masks. They're so Mike, Bad Wolf Media Mike, got a really great close-up of one of those masks that he sent me, and to see all the detail, he shot it at one of the shows, and to see all the detail that's in there, all the leather and the different rivets and bolts, and just, it just looks amazing. That's part of it. Yeah. Isolation, drinking, smoking, lack of exercise. Yeah, it's there are a lot of contributing factors that add up to create Alzheimer's and dementia as you get older. So, ray of sunshine. Oh, did he? The Ghost, the one from HasLab? Cool. I had that but canceled it like the day before it was that it closed up. It's like, they don't need my help and I don't have the space. So yeah, that's kind of what I figures. It's like, I think of Paul, I think of Tommy, and yeah, I think of all you, and I think of figures. That's what I figured. Okay, good. Hopefully that means he's available for more cameos in Star Wars shows. There you go. Steve, it's a rabbit hole. Look at me. Literally spent 15 grand on camera gear this year already. Somewhere in there. Yeah, we'll see. I'm shooting Daryl Hall next month. I think it's next month, but it might be in May. And I think I've got Ryan Adams as well. So so that'll be fun. I've got to see what else is out there. I wonder if they've got anybody shooting. I know that Neil deGrasse Tyson is coming to town, and they're sold out. He's sold out. So I want to see if they need anybody to shoot that. I have no experience in owning an Audi. Do you find it to be reliable, and what is maintenance like? And is it brand that you would recommend to buy? This is my second Audi. The A4 is my second Audi. I had an A3 before it. Bought both of them used. The A3 had like 18,000 miles on it when I got it. It was only a year old. I don't even know if it had 18,000 miles. Very low mileage when I got it. And my wife wound up driving that car more than I did because it was the more reliable of our cars, and she took that on the road all the time. So by the time it was totaled, it had like 160,000 miles on it. And not a single problem with it. Never had a problem with it. I take that back. I'm going to walk that back. The single problem that we had with it is a problem that's common to all Audis, and that's from that time period. I'm not sure if they fixed it in the newer models, but they burn oil like crazy. Every couple months I have to add a quart of oil to the engine. It's just my local Audi dealership even has a thing. It's such a thing with Audis that my local Audi dealership has a thing where if you're in the neighborhood and swing by, they'll just immediately top off all your fluids. It's just that common of a problem with Audis. But it's not a big enough issue for me to stop buying the car. Same thing with this with the A4 that I have now. No issues. God, I'm gonna knock on wood on that one. But and it was not perfect when I got it. It's got a lot of rock chips in it, a couple small dents. But the person obviously didn't take very good care of it. I think they probably lived in a rural area where there's a lot of gravel roads. But great car. For me, the number one thing with the car is it has to have a great sound system. I jam a lot when I'm driving, but yeah, I would definitely recommend Audis. I just took it in to just have an oil change at the dealership the other day, and I'm trying to remember the name. I want to say that it was an SA5 or an SR5. I saw it just sitting there on the dealership in the showroom floor. Great looking car, hatchback. Looked like it was probably like the size of like an A4. Like imagine an A4 with a hatchback, which they made the A4 all road. I think that's kind of what it was. But it had all these crazy ass ground effects, like the ones that you see on like the more recent Audis, Acuras, like this really obnoxious ground effects on it. I don't know if it was an e-tron or if it was carbureted, or fuel injected, if it was fossil fuel, whatever you want to call it. But, I was like, man, this is kind of tight. I wonder if my next vehicle, if I could find a used one of those. Now, keep in mind that an A4 brand new is, depending on your options, going to set you back $50,000, $60,000. I got mine for 19 used. So I'm like, yeah, see what I can do with one of these. Check the sticker on it. Thing was $150,000. I have no idea why. I haven't done my research on it, but yeah, I've got to figure out what's up with that. $150,000 for just a hatchback sedan thing with a bunch of ground effects. I don't know what's going on with that. Mike Games is here. What's up, Mike? Hope you and Iris are doing okay. Good to hear from you. If such plot holes exist and if they are intertwined, then yeah, probably so. But again, double check to make sure that there are in fact plot holes and that you're not just missing. What's up? I'm just going to ask everybody right now to not hit me. Please don't hit me. I'm fragile. I'm old now, and my bones break easily. I did order the dewback and the sandy. Yeah, I think you overdid it. Those things are pretty big, dude. They haven't started shipping from Sideshow as far as I know. This week I have the, they finally sent me my, what do you call it? Range Trooper. So that's coming in. That'll probably, if I do a video next week, that'll be the video I do, I think. Because I'm really looking forward to that. As soon as they dropped it, I was just like, yeah, I've been waiting for that for I thought it was never going to happen. I got so excited. It looks like a work of art. That thing will have a shelf all to its own in a detox. That reminds me, I picked up a couple of detox from one of our channel members here. I can't remember what his channel member name is off the top of my head. He's the guy that has the candle shop here in St. Louis. He was selling 4 and I bought 2, and they're downstairs right now, and I just realized that I haven't been downstairs to see how bad the water intrusion was after last night's storm, so I hope that they're okay. Yeah, I can think of some great standalone episodes. You know, the first one that came to mind would have been "Don't Look" from Doctor Who. No, "Don't Blink." That's it. "Don't Blink" from Doctor Who, which actually wound up introducing the Weeping Angels, which became one of the more popular recurring villains in Doctor Who. So I guess that's really not a filler episode. But at the time that it aired, much like what you're talking about with Buffy episodes, it felt like that. It felt like it was just a filler episode. I mean, it wasn't, the Doctor and his companion weren't even the main stories. They played a role in it, but story. Main protagonists. He's on the treadmill. Hopefully not falling. Oh, got it. Okay. See, that's the deal with me having, like, how far down? I don't even see how far down I am. Okay, I'm gonna just try to roll through these really quick because it's after 10 and I should have been doing. And I have to decide whether or not I want to bother with bringing back 3 strikes, for instance, or any other segments. We'll see. We'll see. I'm just gonna play this fast and loose and figure out what I'm gonna do with the live streams going forward, but. I posted up Return Vader with some Imperial Praetorian guards from Mando. I feel like they would fit Vader like the guys below red guards ended up serving Vader. Life expectancy short. Yeah, that's the truth. Feels like the Praetorians were a evolution of the Royal Guards. Like the Royal Guards, if we ever saw them in action, and we have in the video games, and they very much performed like the Praetorians that we saw in the show. So that's kind of how I feel. The Praetorians were, it's like they took the Royal Guards, which is really a generic name, and gave them a cooler name. Like, you could almost see them, since no one ever says Royal Guards in anything that's canon, you could almost see them retconning it. If they were going to tell a story in which which featured in some way the Emperor's Royal Guards, that they would be referred to as Praetorians going forward. Which I think would be great. Massive changes, and that happens a lot with me as well. That happened to me every time that there was a change in the doctors in Doctor Who. I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss David Tennant. Well, Matt Smith wound up being amazing, you know. Oh no, don't take away my Matt Smith. Peter Capaldi is one of my favorite doctors now, if not my favorite doctor. You know, I had so much hope for Jodie, but she had a lot of things working against her. I'm just going to skip that track because The track that was just playing is only a segment of a full track. I'm not sure how it wound up in the mix, but I'll have to delete that at some point. Yes. That's when it hit me, was the opening crawl. I was like, oh, frig. Yeah, dude, yeah. You can get them? Really? If you think about it, send me a link, please. Because by the end of this live stream, I'll have forgotten all about this part of the conversation. Dude, it happened. I can't remember when the last time was that I did a live stream, but at some point last year, I wound up, Mike with Bad Wolf Media wasn't able to make it to the Iron Maiden show in Chicago, so he gave me his pass to go photograph Iron Maiden there, and which was one of the best concert going experiences of my life. I'm forever indebted to the guy for that. But when I walked in, walked in the back door where photographers go through, and the security guy who was sitting there at a table, I just walked up to him and I was like, yeah, I'm just here to shoot the show. And in the thickest Chicago accent that I've ever heard, he was like, yeah, we don't use that phrase here, man. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the heads up on that one. So yeah, that would be awesome. And I should say that Jeremy has put me in for that. It hasn't been confirmed yet, so you probably haven't been confirmed either. But yeah, we'll see. Oh, Louis Libitz is here. What's up, Louis? Good to see you. Speaking of film buffs, of the knowledgeable sort. And Luis. We got Louis and Luis showing up at the same time. Suspicious. Blurred Dad Life, where are we at? 36? I feel like we've gained a lot of viewers here. Yeah, speaking of which, I really got to get to that soon. There's legitimately no sidebar here. Oh, wait, I'm close to the bottom. Okay, good. Everything is well, Blurred Dad Life. And Big Dog Pound Linda, Steve. Oh, Carrie Mulligan. Oh. Divorce should be finalized in a couple months, Carrie. Oh, that was a good one. Ah, Midnight. So many good memories. Thank you, Laura. I should make it a point. I don't have the time to go back and rewatch all my favorite Doctor Who seasons, but I should make it a point to like maybe check out all the one-off standalone episodes. What was the one where everybody formed the ELO cover band? That was great. That was so good. That's a good kind of dirty, though, Mike. It's a good kind of dirty. Hey, Paul. Thank you very much, man. Yeah. Many thanks. Oh, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, John. I never do myself, as you know. Nobody's perfect. Call me. I'm bad. Oh, Shohei Ohtani. I don't know what that is. When I read that, I thought you said we're saying Shohei Agdashlu, which is one of my favorite. She's one of my favorite actors of all time. God, just that awesome husky smoker's rasp that she's got in her voice. Plays one of my favorite characters of all time. Christian Avasarala from The Expanse. Oh, there we go. Bitter Troll being Bitter Troll. I wonder when he was going to start making it weird. Thank you very much for bringing some color, as always, to the show. Mitchell Lawrence, Doctor was created and filmed in my London borough. Really? Really? That's exciting. I'm planning to go to England in general in the near future. I'm going to start in London, bounce over to Liverpool, and I may make a jaunt up to Scotland. I'm not sure. Thank you, Mike. As you know, me and the sports balls don't get along. Don't care. Oh. Is Wheel of Time at season 3? Has that already dropped? Wow. Carrie Mulligan probably would make an excellent Harley Quinn. She's got the range. She'd also make a great companion. Not for the Doctor, for me. I'm still free, Carrie. Things don't work out. Or if you don't, just need a break. Okay. Yay! Okay, there's a little bit of a backstory to this figure with me. I'm going to rotate this around so that it's actually facing me. But, two things happened recently. I was made aware by Keith Lee and Ali Lee of a toy shop located near me called Time Warp Toys. And, I mean, it's like less than a 10-minute drive from my house. Been there a handful of times. It's a target-rich environment, man. It's a treasure trove of all things from classic toys all the way up to modern, up to and including Hot Toys. They very proudly advertise themselves as a sideshow distributor. And I have made it a point not to let them know I work for Sideshow. Because there have been a few occasions since moving back here where I've been spotted and recognized by people, and people are usually pretty cool. But I do kind of like the anonymity of, just being able to go into a toy shop and shop around without having to talk about work. So, so the fact that they don't know who I am, I'm just like, awesome. They just treat me like ordinary customer. And I had a bunch of Black Series figures just sitting in a box down in my basement. 2 boxes, actually. And I just took them in for trade. And there were a couple real gems in there, like the SDCC exclusive Grand Admiral Thrawn with all the different accessories and whatnot. And they gave me enough money that I was able to get 2 figures. I got that, and finally got my own Anakin from episode 2, which if for whatever reason my range trooper doesn't make it here. Now that I think about it, I don't think that it's shipped yet. Let's find out. But if the oh, thanks Renz for sending me that link. Appreciate you. And if they didn't ship it. Okay, no, it has not shipped yet. That's a pity. What day is the 17th? What's coming on the 17th? Oh. Is it something I can say? I haven't paid attention to Hot Toys Facebook page in so long that I have no idea what's dropped and what hasn't. So there's a figure coming for a first look on Friday. And maybe I'll use that for the channel. Anyway, so sticking with the format of unboxing. Thanks, Linda. Yeah, it was a great deal. Now, I've got a full disclosure. I actually had to throw them some cash on top of the trade, but it was a minimal amount of cash. So basically for trade, let's just say for trading in all of my Black Series figures, I gave them my Black Series figures and like $100 and got 2 Hot Toys figures out of the deal. So I'm totally happy with that. Ha! I hope it doesn't get to that for either of us. Yeah. Hey. Right? You're just so, there are such great comments. Okay, thank you, Bad Wolf. I actually thought turning on my brand new LG TV, because another thing that quit since my last stream was my 2007 Samsung LCD television. Finally gave up the ghost. It had died at least 2 times in the past, I think 3, and I'd had to fix it myself. I thank you YouTube for teaching me new skills. But it finally gave up the ghost in a way that I can't remember if I was unable or unwilling to repair it. Probably a combination of the two. And got myself basically the same size. I mean, I think I spent like $375 for a 55-inch LG TV. It's not the top of the line, obviously, but it's fine. Can't wait to go see that pain management specialist. And but one of the this is also my first smart TV. Like that thing is, that old LCD from Samsung was so old that it was like, it just came on and there was like a blank screen until you turned on whatever input device was you were going to be running through it. And I miss that. I don't like the business of like the smart TVs with their menus and everything that you kind of have to sift through in order to get to what you want to get to. Not a Luddite by any stretch of the imagination, but there's just something messy about the menu on an LG TV. And I'm pretty sure that that there was like a little blurb up at the top right before I selected Netflix that said something about the Wheel of Time, and I was like, oh, did that drop? And then completely forgot about it. So thank you for reminding me. I'll be checking that out later this weekend. Last time I was at Time Warp Tours, they just got in the new Bane figure, and I hesitated, and the next person that walked in nabbed it. That's good. That's good. Good for you. Really? Okay. Oh, that's tight. Okay, I'll be exploring that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. So anyway, let's go ahead and open this. Now, again, I've been through all this with the first look. Gonna go ahead and drop it. Once again, it's like a Steve. It is like you. It's you, right? Let's go and get rid of that. Okay, so typical. We've got our Mandalorian yellow and gold, Mandalorian season 3 yellow and gold. That is the color code for Mandalorian, but it also feels like it's the same color code for let's see if I've got one around here, for Clone Wars figures for the cigar band. I mean, which historically those things have been specific to, if not to a particular film. Each film has its own color code, color palette. Each show has a color palette specific to each season. But I don't recall other offerings from Mandalorian Season 3 having blue and gold as the color palette for the cigar band. Instead, I want to say that was something that I'm used to seeing with Clone Wars. Yeah, the only other thing that I have up here would be, there's a Night Trooper figure in the studio. I love this track. Anyway, so yeah, seriously, let's just get that up there so that, I mean, this is a properly lit photo. And look at that. You can see there's some like box damage to it. One of the things about Time Warp is that they do throw away the shipping boxes and they throw away the plastic bags that they come in. So when you get a figure from them, you're probably going to be experiencing some shelf wear. And I had a conversation with the guy that I think that was the owner about it. And he was like, I hadn't thought about that. Well, now you have. You can see there being a problem with that, but he's like, because of like storage of the cardboard boxes and everything. But I saw the back room, and like all their figures that aren't out on a shelf, if they have more than one copy of a given figure, it's on a back shelf in the back room, and they're just sitting like this. Well, you can make the argument that shipping boxes take up space, but they don't take up much more space than this box. So if you've got more than one, leave it in the back. Break down the shipping box of the one that's on display out front, flatten it, and have a place where you just store those. Because while I don't care too terribly much, there are a lot of people out there in the collecting world that for whom the shipping box is an important aspect of the collecting experience. Very solid question. Yes, in fact, that Maul hit 2.0 head sculpt I recently, as you probably saw, maybe saw, I did the first look for that, and I had passed on it because I have the first version of that figure with the speeder. And so I passed on it, even though I saw that there were improvements. Oh, do I have it? Let me see. Okay, this is worth pausing, because I don't know if anybody's actually done this. Again, I don't follow other YouTube channels because, frankly, I don't have time. I do follow some YouTube channels. I follow Professor of Rock profusely. I watch. If you're a fan of rock and roll from the 50s all the way through the 90s, and you have the time, there's this cat on YouTube called Professor of Rock. Alex Reader, I think his name is, or Alec Reader or something like that. Anyway, Aaron, I don't know, something Reader. And he's a really prolific YouTuber, does a video every day, 6 days a week, and covers a different subject, a different format, has like different segments that he does on a regular basis. Great channel if you're a big fan of rock and roll, as I am, and I just recently figured him out. Yes, that would have been a brilliant thing for me to do. No, I did not do that. Anyway, going back. Right, man? I mean, come on. It's like his voice is very similar to Casey Kasem's in a lot of ways. I mean, he lacks the, do they have a different accent? I don't know. He's got that. He's from Idaho, so Professor Rock is from Idaho. But a lot of watching his YouTube channel feels a lot like listening to Casey Kasem's Top 40 show from back in the day. Mostly because every time he brings up a song, he's got some kind of a backstory to tell about it. It's just so great. The nostalgia is there. He's got access. He has so many great interviews with so many classic rock legends that it's worth tuning in. I've learned so much about so many of my favorite artists from back in the day, just in the few short weeks since I've learned about this channel. That could be fun. I haven't heard those words in a while. Anyway, but getting back to Darth Maul. I just plugged this in. Let's see if it's still on the... There we go. I'm going to see if I can't bring up an image here. If I can find it. Oh, thumbnail images, going back. There we go. Okay, so that's that. Present. No, go back. Image file. Let's see. So yeah, this is worth showing. And it is 9001. There it is. Again, this is raw. I didn't have time to edit it in... There we go. So those are the two head sculpts. That is the original Darth Maul head sculpt on the left and the refined version on the right. And you can see at that scale, when it's all blown up like that, the massive difference that has been between the two. Clearly much slimmer, much more accurate look for Ray Park from that era, from 1999. And whereas the one on the left does seem like it's, you know, the more full-faced older version of Ray Park that we saw in, say, Solo. On bread, off bread. On bread, off bread? I don't know what that means. Anyway. Oh, there you go. Okay. Nailed it. Yeah, and one sympathizes because since I gave up alcohol, my face has become so much less swollen. And it's like looking at, I didn't really realize it until I saw the thumbnail image that I generated for today's episode of the show. But it's remarkable when you give up drinking just how much your face just shrinks. And the rest of you too. Rune Samuelson's here, I'm seeing. What's up, dude? Well, the question, Mitchell, is Do you think we'll get a 1/6 Hoth, Luke, Han, and Tauntaun again? Well, the originals that we saw of those were from Sideshow, obviously, but I think your question is, will Hot Toys be producing those things? And I would say it's only a matter of time. I mean, there are a few figures recently that they just dropped, like the TIE Fighter pilot, that I thought they'd never do, because the Sideshow one was plenty good. But apparently they found something that they could do better, and I think what they found they could do better was the chest plate, the chest armor. I don't know. I really haven't explored it too much. But yeah, there's the difference. Getting back to this, there's the difference between the two. I should have done a profile shot, but I did not. Yeah. So let's go back to this. Thank you very much. All right, cool. Good here. I've been drinking this. I'm drinking. That is, in fact, something you could do. Yeah, getting back to Tauntauns really quick. I never thought that Hot Toys would produce a dewback, and yet, whoa, here she comes. Hey, look, it's Brian Carr from Toytography Magazine. Thanks for joining us today, Brian. How are things going? You know, that just reminds me, you messaged me a few weeks back asking me something about being on your show, and it was back when I was super, super sick. And I meant to get back to you, and I completely forgot about it because I was on a lot of drugs and on a lot of fever. So, sorry for that. But reach out again if you want. Oh, that's cool. I've forgotten this. Yeah, here's the fun thing. At Time Warp Toys, I want to say, when I was there last, they had at least 2 Praetorian Guards, possibly 3, sitting in that back room. And it might be fun to have. You don't need to get 3. I'm a big fan of never going more than 3 figures on a detox shelf, and then only if you're doing like museum poses, because anything else it just becomes too real estate heavy. But to have this guy and 2 of these guys flanking him would be so good. Am I right? That's a great montage. Yeah. And again, just showcasing the absolutely amazing sculpt of Giancarlo Esposito. It's just, I mean, the first one was good. And this, once again, illustrates when we're talking about these things, much like when we're talking about films, much like when we're talking about music, 6-scale figure creation is not a pass-fail scenario. It's a sliding scale filled with nuance. And the trick is to find things to appreciate in everything. They're scratch and sniff. That might be something I'd be into. Thought they smelled bad on the outside. I don't have the Paz Vizsla figure, but I do have the Heavy Infantry Mando figure. Hands. Hands, so many hands. Esposito? Like that? Really? I've been saying it wrong all this time? How embarrassing. Esposito. Oh, because he's Italian. That's right. I keep getting my Romance languages screwed up. I always have. But for some reason, I was thinking I was pronouncing it like you would in Spanish, right? Because in Spanish, if I'm not mistaken, the second to last syllable of a surname is typically the one with the inflection, so it would be Esposito. But Esposito, that's appropriate. Giancarlo Esposito. Thank you. I'm so happy about that. I know how to say this man's name now. That's great. Okay. So much plastic. I'm sure there's going to be tape. Rest in pause. Nice, Steve. Esposito. Keep going. Esposito. Giancarlo Esposito. Am I saying it right now? We're gonna get this right, Mike. Me and you. Oh, God. I'm gonna have to jump back into the bathroom really quick and grab some rubber gloves. You may be asking yourself, why does Terry keep a bunch of rubber gloves in the bathroom? For all kinds of reasons. Most recently, it's because I've been staining wood. Frequently, but normally it's because I have to wear rubber gloves, surgical gloves, like that kind of thing, for when I make my chili, because I use habaneros and or ghost peppers when I'm making chili. You've been warned if I ever offer to serve you chili. Be right back. And now I am out of surgical gloves. These are the last two. So I'll have to pick up some more. I guess I'm just learning, man. I mean, even though I've been gone for a long time, you'd think I'd be out of practice. But it's like when I'm able to anticipate Keith Lee's comments, for instance. Did not see that coming. So maybe I am a little bit out of practice. He told you that's why. Yeah, it's a good thing. I agree. The other downside for to not having the shipping box for me is because, as a matter of habit, typically when I'm doing when I'm taking all the plastic and foam pieces off of a figure, they go right into the shipping box. Just dump them into the bottom of the shipping box. That way I know where they are, and when I return the figure to its container, I then have I know exactly where all the pieces are. The plastic pieces are. The plastic bits. This track sounds a lot like Thundercat. Oh, shiny. So shiny that helmet is. Huh. By the way, I am currently working on ideas for, now that I have multiple camera bodies, I'm currently looking into ways that I can bring in a second camera into the mix. Whether it's an overhead or something similar. I'm just to have a different angle on these figures as I'm posing them up or opening them or whatever. That's something that I've always admired about Paulie's shows, is that he has that overhead, and it makes for a much better presentation when you're first opening up the figure. Wow, so much foam and so much plastic in this guy, I'd forgotten. See, two more bits between in the armpits, the armpit bits, if you will. One over the head, and two on the shoulders. Big gaps there. How do you know that Hot Toys has product tested something and determined that it has a high possibility for scratches in shipping or storage? You can tell by the amount of plastic and foam we put onto the figures. Will this come off here? I don't want to break it. If only there were instructions. Hi, Paul. Miss you, buddy. By the way, is Paul still doing Bad Bash stuff? I don't think there was a Bad Bash last year, was there? For those who know or don't know or think that they know, please sound off and let me know, because I had after what, 2 years ago? The 2023 Bad Bash? I promised myself that no matter what happened, I'd make it to the next one. And then I kind of got lost in my stuff. And Yeah, and never kept track of it. So did he have one in 2024? If so, obviously I broke my promise and didn't make it. If not, because he's busy with his career, then more power to him. But yeah, keep me posted, everybody. Because next time there's a Bad Bash, I'm going to be there. And for anybody watching this who's just like, when's that Bad Bash going to be? Because that means Terry's house is going to be open, right? I always have a house sitter. I think I pissed off my last house sitter because I came home from wherever I was. I think it was Comic-Con. And there was a... my display of the Boba Fett 2-pack over here, I had legitimately taken a photograph of it the day before I left for Comic-Con. And I'd been showing it to people because of just how good that set looks on display. And it had clearly been moved when I got back. Well, come to find out that the people who were house sitting for me, some that came up, and they're friends, some that came up, they had to be somewhere else, so they had to bring in like a pinch hitter to house sit the last couple of days. And that pinch hitter brought her boyfriend over to watch a movie, quote unquote. And I guess that dude couldn't resist checking out Boba Fett. Which is fine, but it was, I don't want to say I called them out on it. It was more like, hey man, I'm so anal about the position of my figures that I recognized that Boba Fett had moved a 1/4 inch to the left on the shelf. It was just meant to be funny, but I think that they took it personally because they haven't house set for me since. Boy, a lot of plastic. This figure right here is a solid argument in favor of shit. Something broke off. Velcro, not a break, just a drop. I just saw somebody suggesting that I get my passport refreshed. Solid idea. Sometimes these... And the other knee pad fell off. So I'm going to go down and find them. There we go. Found something else down there too. Where did it go? Oh, it's still there. All right. So these guys, hopefully they show up. I did see the video, dude. And the track hasn't grabbed me. The track has not grabbed me yet, as I mentioned earlier in the show before you showed up. But the video is really great. Pretty sure the song's about masturbation. So yeah, these knee pads are attached by Velcro, and this one, as I was taking off the boot, popped off. So it just needs to be reapplied. Oh, that headache that I mentioned earlier, it's getting worse. Uh-oh. Ellie's trying to tell me something. So I might have to exit stage left for a couple seconds. But not before I get this guy on a stand. So feel free for the next minute or so to talk amongst yourselves. I'm just gonna let her out. She's fine outside on her own for a little while. And set a timer on the phone so that I know to get back up and let her back in. Oh my God, look how good he looks. Jesus, this is crazy. Oh. See, this is the enthusiasm I need to be having when I'm doing videos for work. Want to go out? Want to go inside? Yeah? Come on. Let's go. Done. You coming? Done. All right. 5-minute timer, please. Okay.
Starting now.
Thank you, Siri.
Don't mention it.
You have to plan ahead for when our robot overlords finally take over the world. Because I'm sure that even now, they're keeping a tally of which of us were polite and which of them were not. You've been warned. I am, in fact, back. Hey, Nelson Mendoza, what's up? I don't much care. It's my friends are all pretty awesome, and they know the value of these things, not only monetarily but also their value to me. And it's like, if the guy did in fact move it, then fine, whatever. But if you break it, you bought it. My knees, since surgery, my knees have gotten much better. Thank you very much. There he is. We were just talking about you. Chevelle210 is the man from whom I purchased a pair of detox recently. Still not assembled, dude. They're down in the basement waiting for me to figure out what I want to do with them. The studio is currently in remodel mode, so I was kind of thinking they'd go in there, but it looks like I'm already kind of out of room with the new format for first looks. So I don't know. And we did have a massive storm last night. I haven't gone down to check for water intrusion yet. I'm pretty sure that I have all the wood parts up off the ground, so they should be fine. But I'm still a bit concerned for their well-being. Is that right? Yeah? Oh, that sounds fun. Fun title. Catchy. Good to see you, dude. Take care. No bad batch last year. He's working. Supposed to be back this year. Get your passport refreshed. Yeah, I will definitely take care of that passport soon-ish. So much to do. I need a new front door. For a second there, I thought there was a fine layer of dust on this, which sort of makes you think, if there was, then it would make you think, wow, this thing was on display for a little while. But no, it's like there's a little bit of weathering to the surface of this base. I don't know if it'll show up on the on camera once it's in focus there, but yeah, if you can, yeah, you can kind of tell. It kind of looks like a little hazy. Yeah, so good job on Hot Toys, as always, for not phoning it in on something like this. Just making things look a little bit, well, it's a used universe, right? That was the original concept. So that's kind of what we want to see in our figures. What's this? Just a smudge. This house is really dusty right now because I left the windows open a couple days ago when we had really nice weather. So I'm gonna have to clean all my collectibles. Let's get this up here really quick and just show him off. Especially that portrait. Let's get eyes on that. Now again, this is just with the eyes in a neutral position. This is one of those figures that has the option for posable eyeballs, which is, I have to say, was something that when I first experienced them, I was terrified. Yeah, I was like, God, Hot Toys is really going to do this to me? Oh, God, I was just freaking out, man, because it was so hard. I was having such a hard time of it. And as months have gone by now, and I've been doing more and more of them in first looks, I'm finally getting to the point where I'm confident with my ability to pose these eyes. There's just a learning curve. Has anybody else been experiencing something similar with these posable eyeballs? Like for the first few figures that I got for my personal collection, I wouldn't touch them. Not at all. And I think right around the time that I got my hands on Obi-Wan from Clone Wars is when I really started paying attention. So glad I set that timer. Now I can go let the dogs in. They're probably already freaking out. Okay. BRB. Come on, get in. Treat! Stubby, stop knocking over my stuff. Stubby, want a treat? Good boy. Now you gotta pick it up. Ellie, with that. Good down. Good girl. Good down. Dogs are the best. Okay. All right, so helmet or portrait? Both. Just looking at accessories here, I'm noticing. Okay, we got jetpack. We've got zap stick. Hello, girl. What? What is it? What do you want? Oh, you want love? You want scratches? You got scratches? Good girl. I wish I could show you this dog. But you probably just saw her walking around back there. Okay, go lay down. Go lay down? No? Don't worry. Give it an hour. We'll go. We'll go somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to have him holding his helmet in his right hand, cupped under his armpit, zap stick in his left hand, and looking nice and menacing. He's already got a great upward look to him, but I want to exaggerate that a little bit and have him looking off to his right. Let's see what everybody's saying about these rolling eyeballs. Let's see, in that order, no, 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 and yes. Okay. No, no, maybe yes. I wasn't planning on getting the Return of the Jedi Han, but then I realized that I do have the deluxe Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. Currently in a box, I think. I don't think I sold it. Did I sell it? Ugh. Might have sold it. I'm sure it's down there. No, I wouldn't do something that stupid. But, it would look pretty cool to have a Jedi Han. I don't have Jedi Leia. But Jedi Leia with Wicket is on my bucket list. Figure that I passed on that I kind of regretted later. So it would be kind of cool to have all of those guys. As my original trilogy hero shelf. But I also kind of want to have my favorite original trilogy film is Empire. So it would be kind of nice to have Hoth Han, Hoth Leia, Hoth Luke. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's really good, isn't it? A bit of a learning curve. Agreed. Yes, that's it. Patience and perseverance. Because it's easy to just be like, close enough. But really, seriously, you can't be that way. Or at least that's what work told me. Anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna do let's go ahead and put the helmet on him right now so that you can at least see what it looks like. Good call, BDP. And in order to do this, oh no, you don't have to switch out. Okay, some of these figures you have to switch out the peg in order to get it on there. But this one is designed so that you can just pop the helmet onto the really fancy new style neck joint that Hot Toys is doing for these figures. Yeah, so let's get them in close again. Look at that, the way that shimmer. I think that's kind of what hooked me when I got the sample figure to do the first look with, was the way that the metallic reflectivity on that visor really sold it for me. In similar fashion to that of the Purge Trooper from Obi-Wan. I mean, that was really the thing that set that figure off for me. Wow, yeah, really awesome. And I had an issue with the magnets in the one that Sideshow sent me. Let's see if it carries over to this one. No, this one's nice and strong. Yeah, you got that jetpack that mounts to the back of the cape, because like Mando has his cape over the jetpack, has to go off to the side of it one way or the other. Not so with this guy. He's just such a prima donna. He's got to be able to showcase both. There's a guy that deserved to die. I don't say that a lot, but yeah. Some might argue that I don't say it enough. Yes, that's dangerous, and I think it's best to err on the side of wall-eyed. Yeah, cross-eyed is always more obvious, especially when you're standing back further from the figure. So I want to say that Nanjing Tam over at X06 said that you're supposed to shoot for a 5-foot viewing distance from the figure. So pose it up, step back 5 feet, check it out, step back in, make adjustments, and go from there. And I found that that's actually a pretty reasonable standard, to the extent that I actually know now what it looks like when I'm looking right at it. I know what that different angle is, what it's supposed to look like when it's like a foot from me as opposed to 5 feet from me. Rob Parisho apparently made a good point. It's my issues of late with the eyeballs is the new square head mount peg. I always bump them on the reattach. I have had issue with that. But the thing of it is that once I realized that was happening, then I was able to adjust my tactics in order to make sure that I erred on the side of it's. If you angle it too far to the back, then that's when you bump the pegs for the eyes. So if you err towards the front, you may miss the connection a couple of times, but at least you won't bump the sticks for the eyes. So that's kind of crucial. This is going to be a long stream. It already is. Crap. I'm going to have to pose in a hurry. There you go. Yeah, I think the reason that and I just the one that I showcased in the video, the Obi-Wan Kenobi from Clone Wars that I showcased in the live stream a few months ago, was actually Sideshow's copy. I have my own now, but it's still in the box downstairs. I considered doing it for this show, but I've already done that. I may do it again. I don't know. But that's the first really hardcore instance in which I saw the value, 100% saw the value of having posable eyeballs. Because with that fantastic Obi-Wan Kenobi pose that everybody loves to do, in order to have him looking straight down his fingers, when he's doing that whole two-fingered pose, whatever you want to call it, you have to turn the head in an unnatural way. Because he's throwing that way out, like way back. You see how far back my shoulder's going there. And so you have to turn the head like this, and that's actually hurting me to try to turn my head to that degree. So it's an unnatural angle for the head to be in. The only way to do it, and if you freeze frame the shot of him looking at General Grievous, you can see that his eyes are just like over here, like looking way off. Is that good? Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're looking way off to the left. And yeah, looks so good. And there's just so much more personality. The helmet really does go hard. It's going to be very difficult for me to not display it with the helmet on his head, but this portrait is the jam. I got to stop talking and start posing. Beskar Kid agrees. Oh. Yeah, I have a Lando, and I think it's the cape that doesn't do it for me. I'm having a hard time with the cape. I think that the head sculpt probably could use a little refinement. I mean, it's currently the best Lando on the market, so it's hard to argue with it. But if they did do a Lando 2.0, oh, what's that super awesome artisan edition? If they did an artisan edition of Lando, wow, that'd be hard to say no to. All right, you, Gideon. Now, remind me in the comments after I hit the post. I do have Gideon 1.0 up on a high shelf in the living room. Probably needs a dusting, but I will break it down and bring it down so that we can admire the differences in the head sculpts, how they've refined it for this 2.0 version. Okay. So before I do anything, now notice, I know they provide a stick, a little tool that you can use to adjust the eyeballs, but I found that for most of them, my little finger actually serves me better than that stick. The stick has a tendency to pop free. There's a little cup in there for the stick to go into so that you can direct the eyeballs. But when I'm using it, I don't know if it's me or if it's the design of the tool of the system, but I keep popping it out. And I seem to have better luck for most figures. Some of the female head sculpts are too tight for my 50-year-old man fingers. Oh man, that's really tight. Oop, not anymore. Uh-oh, there we go. And I'm sorry for the dead air while I'm doing this, but this does require some concentration on my part. How's that looking? Sometimes it's best to look at it through a camera. Okay, that eye's looking up a little too much. And one thing I found, another thing that I found is, like, our natural tendency is to look at the eyes head on, like directly at them, like have his eyes looking at our eyes. But that doesn't work nearly as well, I found, as turning it a bit of an angle. Like right now, I'm looking at it and it looks like it's properly placed. The eyes are properly placed. But when I turn it a little bit, then I can tell that that left eye is looking significantly higher than the right eye, and I can make that adjustment. So yeah, your natural instinct to go to look directly at the eyeballs, to have that pupil centered, probably isn't serving you well. Instead, hit that pose with the eyes and then move it around. And then that gives you a much better idea, I think. And there we go, I think I got it. Let's go closer. Again, I think that it's wall-eyed more so than cross-eyed, but when you're further back, that looks natural. Like if I were to move all the way in on my camera as close as I could while remaining in focus and focus on something in the distance, my eyes would look a little bit wall-eyed. I want to say that there are techniques that actors have to use for that when they're doing close-ups, or when they're actually, like in a two-shot where they're actually supposed to be looking directly at somebody whose face is really close to theirs. You can't actually focus on that person's face, you have to look past it. That's a hot tip. Let me see this. Linda! That tip is worth its weight in gold. Awesome. I love it. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's also a sculpting technique that a lot of people use when they're sculpting. Turn the head upside down, and if it still looks like the character, then you're probably onto something. I think I want to have him looking from beneath his eyes a little bit more. So I'm just going to nudge those guys up just ever so slightly. All right, we got it. Y'all, great portrait. Job well done, Hot Toys. Now, for the sake of safety, precautionary, I'm going to take this guy off. I've had way too many occasions in which I've been moving a figure around and forgot about the magnetic nature of a certain attachment, and it winds up falling off. In fact, it happened yesterday with one of my Mandalorian figures. Oh, yeah. Nice, okay. That's how you figured that out. Yeah, so do I. Again, Artisan would be great. Okay. Moving right along. What would be the best hand for holding this figure? Do we want the retracted stick? No, I don't think we do. Dog hair. Yeah, we want that stick extended. Shut up, Keith. The blaster is going to go in the holster. We got a little tiny blaster pistol. Looks like it's modeled after a Walther P38. Definitely. Which kind of maintains the whole World War II era nature of Imperial weapons. So that's cool. Do I want these? The gummies? I'm going to pull them out. And if we have time, I will add the gummy electric effects to the mix. If not, we are already overtime, like way overtime, but what the hell. I've had a break. I'm fine. Oh, maybe. No, I was thinking maybe it would be cool to have the, let's get this up there. I was thinking that maybe it would be cool to have the smushed dark saber clenched in his fist instead of the, instead of one of the two accessories, either the stick or the helmet. Okay, which hand works best? Oh, this might change everything. I'm gonna kill this. Yes, yeah, you get it. I've popped out a couple of eyes. I popped out an eye on a Mighty Thor figure, Jane Foster. And I want to say I popped out one on an Obi-Wan figure. So is this hand the one that's meant to hold the helmet? Yes, it is. So that's going to change everything. Down to up to 38. Wow. You know, just this me checking the viewership to see how many viewers we have right now brings up another reason why I jumped off social media, is that all too often I found myself looking for that validation of checking for likes and comments when I would leave a when I would post something, and I didn't want to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to look for that validation. I just want to do it. And if people like and subscribe, that's great. Wait, what have I done there? That looks off, right? No, it's fine. But it needs to be higher, because I am going to have him looking down, given that menacing stare from... God, Giancarlo's got that... His eyes, man. Oh. Yeah, there we go. That's better. There we go. I don't have my proper glasses on for this, so maybe... Oh, yeah. And Linda, that is a great technique. Thank you. God, it's so close that I almost don't want to risk. It's like if I good. All right. So now he's going to be looking off to his left, obviously, which means the hand is going to have to be... Yeah, this one is perfect for holding the helmet, I think. We'll find out together. It's been a while since I played with this figure, so... Got to dress him. Get this stuff out of the way first. And by the way, I should point out, for those who don't know or who are curious, yes, the cape is wired for posability. And yes, I am going to do something fun with that. Which it means this video is going to run even longer. God. Okay. Go to your home, Pistol. I can never not bring this up. I remember distinctly there was a time there were comments on a first look video. There were comments on who's this? Oh, Luis. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, man, for the $5 super chat. Yeah, again, I'm no pressure on anybody for super chats, but when they are left, that money doesn't buy me new toys. It goes to fund this channel. Gets us the music that keeps us entertained. It gets us the subscription to StreamYard so that we can do all the cool things and make it look sexy and fun. The eyes are off. Just slightly. There. Slightly too high now on the left eye. See? Told you. The cough lingers. Exactly so. Thank you, Linda. Did you leave me a super chat as well? I thought I heard a dog barking outside, but they're both in here, so. Okay. Cool. Let us hide this comment. Back to work. So delicate. I mean, it's like you really have to finesse these eyes. Even when you're just doing something as simple as... There we go. Jesus. The left eye is somewhat loose on this guy. So like bumping it really knocks it askew. I think that's got it. Okay, yeah, now we got it. Okay, so we're gonna do the stick first because duh. Because the stick has a grip or something gripping it. I thought I put that down. There we go. And I just pulled out some whiskers from my mustache. Let's see. Now for the staff, the rotation point for the wrist peg should face the thumb. Kind of align with the thumb so that when it's moving, it kind of does this. Right? Because that's the direction that you're going to want that thing to go. You're not going to want to curl it so much as have it pointing either up or down. Or maybe you do. That's a judgment call. Oh, here's the question. Do we want him holding it like at battle ready, like horizontally, or like this? Comment. Let's leave your opinions of that in the comments. Should this be held at battle ready, or should it be held like, come at me, bro, like upright, like he's holding a stand, like a banner? Okay, so I'm gonna get the arm out here and kind of rough out the position for holding the helmet. And then, you know those hip shifts that I like to do? I do it like this now. Putting pressure on the thighs. So that he's kind of doing a, yeah, and that's kind of how I determine where I want his, okay, so he's gonna be doing this. Do we want him forward or back? I think I'm gonna have his weight on his back leg. And we're gonna rotate the hips a little bit to the left. So with the hips shifted to the right leg is going to be straight, but because of that imbalance between the position of the hips, you want to just break the line on that left leg a little bit and then rotate it at the hip just a little bit more to the front so that it's not, you don't want his feet to be at 90 degrees. Let me just take a look at this and see if I'm doing it okay. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put you down here for now. And you. And see how this goes. Huh. Does this separate? If only there were instructions. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to take any more time with this staff than I already have. I'm not going to have the juice flowing. I'm going to leave that juice. I'm going to leave that juice in the bottle. I agree. Thank you. Hey, Action in the Box. What's up, dude? First time here? Welcome, man. Come at me, bro. Okay, cool. So, all right. Everybody seems to think that that we should be doing it just like I'm doing it. So great. So, let me see here. I'm going to move that shoulder back. Let's go ahead and rotate this around so you can see what I'm doing here. But, oh, God, where's that staff? There we go. So, his shoulder is forward here, and I don't like that. I want that shoulder back, and then I'm going to rotate the arm back just a touch. Break it at the elbow just a little bit, and I want that point. See how it's pointed down like that? That's great. But let's go ahead and rotate that hand so that it's not facing, so it's not pointing in the same direction as this body. Creates a nice leading line once I get the figure straight. Let's shift that hip back a little bit more. I think that the stand wasn't up enough. Yeah, the stand wasn't up high enough yet. All right, kick ass. And again, I'm going to rotate that around, torso around just a little bit more. Bring that arm up. I gotta say, there's part of me that really misses doing this for How to Be a Poser. Crap. Rotate. Helmet test. Whoa. I am experiencing some coffee jitters. Okay. So it's not quite where it needs to be yet. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. All right, let's get this hand of this gummy out of the way. Where'd the other gummy go? I reckon I'll step on it later. Okay, so here's where I'm at, just to show you guys where we are now. Just making sure that that helmet, that the bottom of the helmet is touching. Now, it's not touching all of the fingers, but it doesn't need to. It needs, you're going to be viewing it from this angle. So the fact that it's not touching the back fingers, the middle ring and pinky finger, that's obscured by the position of the hand itself, and that's true from like this whole angle here. So it looks like he's holding it naturally, and don't like the angle of his body there. Is that okay? Just futzing with the position of the thigh armor, just making sure that that's nice and neat. Yeah, okay, so you can see that my regular C curve that I usually try to get with the, why did he go out of focus there? The C curve is kind of there, leading from the shoulder all the way down to the foot. That's attractive. I dig it. I want to rotate this hand just a little bit more, because the more you have that hand rotated, yeah, you definitely want to break the line. Don't have it running the same direction as the chest. You want to get that leading line leading up to him. But you also want that leading line to exist from this angle. And what that also does is that the more you bend that back, rotate that hand around so that the tip of the spear is pointing towards the rear, the more it looks like he's ready to just swing that thing around and jab you with it, strike you with it. So I'm just going to futz with that until I've... Yeah, there we go. Mess with that. This is a great figure, dudes. Seriously. Those coffee jitters are really getting me down. I'm just shaking all over the place here. And, let's see. Yeah, I think that's got it. So only 2 more things left to do. That's futz with the cape. So I don't do capes very much on the show. Usually I leave that for afterwards. And the reason for that is because they do take a long time to do. But a good rule of thumb when you're playing with a cape is that the line of the cape should never break up here above the elbow. It should never break before the elbow. The cape should always just kind of maintain the same line, no further than the upper arm. Unless you really are just having him in a really high wind environment, if your cape is posable enough that you can actually have it floating, thinking of the Moon Knight figure, for instance, then it becomes attractive to do that. But for this, I'm just going to create a curve here. Let's see this. And because the staff, spear, whatever you want to call it, you have to have it breaking no higher up than the staff. So that just requires a little bit of futzing. Oh, see, those drapes are just awesome on this, right? The pleats, fantastic. And the goal is not to just make it billow too much, but you kind of want to show off. That is just an awesome red color and texture on the inside of the cape. So you just want to make sure that anybody who like walks into your collection room for the first time or checks out your figures for the first time, you're showing that a little bit to them. Not too much. You don't want to like overdo it. But they have to be aware that he's got that sort of Dracula's cape vibe to it. Like, I may be overdoing it a bit here. You be the judge. I just feel like that's a little too much billow. Like, over here is fine. That's perfect. But I overdid it on this side. And I'm going to correct that right now. Because of the nature of his cape, too, it just flows straight back from the shoulders. It's not like a Darth Vader cape that's meant to drape over the van braces. I don't think it is. Is it? No, it's meant to just kind of go straight down. So I'm just going to just fix that. I don't like it. Oh, I see what's doing it. The stand is catching the cape That's why it's showing too much red down there. So I'm just going to have his cape kind of fall and just barely be flaring out there at the bottom. Kind of mimicking what's going on. Let's pull it forward here without knocking the helmet out. Please don't knock the helmet out. There we go. Just make sure all those natural pleats are there and just hanging like they're meant to. Straighten that wire out. You can really never spend too much time on the wires. I'm just going to bend it here laterally. Touch. The wire doesn't run all the way to the tip. That's annoying. But you can kind of correct it, I think. There we go. Just bend it up, flip it. And I'll futz with that a little bit more. If I do a 360 video, remember the channel members have the ability to check out a, let's see, clear that. Channel members have the ability to access very short clips of the final pose that I hit in the live streams. Close-ups, turnarounds, 4K, whereas this is like, I think this is just 1080 that you're checking out here, so you don't really get to see it up close. But I'll do some close-up turnarounds, and that will show off the figure a little bit more. Just pushing those greaves down until they're... That does two things. Greaves like this are gonna fall naturally until they collide with the boots. That's how they should look. But also, if you push them down a little bit, put a little bit of force on there, then it adds a little bit more stability to the ankles. So you don't have to rely quite so much on the stand. But there we go. I think that's it. I think that's got it. Who has joined us? Got action in the box. I already showed that one. Thank you. Good to see you here. Dylan Hicks, Serious Slug. Huh? Serious Lug or Serious Slug? Slug or Lug? Yeah, you confirm or deny, whichever one you want. Good to see you back. This looks amazing. Thank you. I really wish How to Be a Poser was still around. Me too. I watch all of them. They help tremendously. That's great. That's exactly the kind of comment that I like to hear about How to Be a Poser. I'm a big fan of content in my YouTube channel and those I'm associated with having some value beyond advertising. I want anybody who watches me do this to actually get something out of it. So yeah, I love to hear comments like that, Dylan. Thank you. Yes, Terry's back. Good to see you and everyone else. Good morning. Hey, Uber Dog, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, coffee is a thing that I only do I brought coffee back into my life. By the way, for those of you who don't know, I haven't talked about this for a long time. This is my favorite coffee mug. It is created by a guy named Newt Lay, and I'm trying to remember the name of his Etsy page. 3 Circle Pottery. Probably says it on the bottom. And it does. But you can see that it's handcrafted on a potter's wheel by a guy named Newt Lay. Now, those of you, since you're watching this channel, you're probably aware of who this character is. But Newt Lay is the guy, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. If anybody knows, looking at you, Mike, then maybe you can help me out. But he's the guy that played Judo Master in Peacemaker. And he has his own Etsy account. He's a fantastic potter. And he always has a few pieces available, like a dozen or more. They sell out pretty quickly. So, like, I recently just bought my aunt a teacup from him for her birthday back in January. I think I want to say that I have like half a dozen pieces by him. So yeah, if you're looking for a unique, I mean, this is the one of a kind. There are no more like this in the world. But if you're looking for a unique coffee mug, planter, vase, teacup, bowls, rice bowls, what have you, check out 3 Circle Pottery on Etsy. Amazing stuff. I can't get enough of them. Right on, brother. Brian Carr, thank you. Yeah, unlikely. It seems unlikely. Sideshow's a corporation. At the end of the day, they've got to maximize money, profits. It's how businesses stay alive. And so I understand the need to move beyond how to be a poser and the need to condense first looks from that perspective. But I agree. I think that I think it would be nice to see something how to be a poser like return. If anybody else has the time for it, I myself do not. Says the guy who just took 2.5 hours to do a freaking live stream. But yeah, it would be. I love content with value for my own YouTube watches. But let's face it, right now the algorithm is really pushing short form, and people these days. Another reason why I got rid of social media on my phone. People these days seem to really be focused on content that doesn't require a great deal of a higher attention span. It seems to be catered these days for people with low attention spans. And to keep you from going from video to video to video to video. It's like, I was reading the other day that legitimately the strategy used by social media companies is similar to the strategy used by the people who create slot machines. That's why the similarities there between the scrolling. Everything's just kind of moving up. The same thing with slot machines, with all the bells and whistles going and everything like that. And it's just hypnotic, mesmerizing, and addictive. And yeah, I just had to do away with it. Stuff like this, long form content, I think that's where it's at. I think eventually people are going to get burned out, and short form content is going to go the way of the dodo. At least I hope so. Maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part, but for now it's here to stay. And so I get it. I get it why Sideshow's moving towards short form, and I hope that they continue to see value in the short form content that I produce for them. I learned a lot about posing do's and don'ts from you as well. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything else that I needed to do before I walked away? Yes. Jetpack. Oh wait, I was thinking spaceship. There we go. Wait, is that backwards? It is, in fact, upside down. There we go. Why doesn't that look right? So there he is. Let me hide that comment really quick from Linda Underhill. I'll just put him center so he's actually rotating. Yeah, man. I think that looks pretty good. Oh, that's right. I was going to bring in the OG, if you will. So let's get him in position. And I'll be right back with the original Moff Gideon. This is really gross. I haven't looked at that shelf in a long, long time, and there is a very fine layer of dust on everything up there. A lot of people freak out when they hear that I, especially my friends in California, freak out when they hear that I don't have most of my figures behind glass. But in Missouri, where everything is climate controlled all year long, dust doesn't create much of an issue. I showed somebody who was asking me about it recently a photo from one of my figures on a shelf that had not been touched behind a detolf, and it had not been touched by a dust rag in probably 2 years, and there was just an imperceptible amount of dust on the figure. Oh my God, this is just night and day difference. I'm kind of bothered by it now that I see them side by side. And by the way, that self-same what do you call it? That self-same climate control helps to keep the figures from being damaged when you're dealing with pleather and such. So there's the two of them together. And just look at the difference. Hey, JP. Jean-Paul Mavinga is my favorite artist that I especially definitely that I know personally, but one of the best artists that I know in general. I have some of his work on display behind me here. I don't think that you can see it on camera. It's just above. It's right there. That black frame up at the top with the white in it. That's a piece of JP Mavinga artwork. But he's currently working on a couple of great projects that he's been sharing both with me personally, but also on his Patreon. And I showed the work. I'm sorry, hope this is okay, JP, but I showed your work to my friend Mark, who was just in town from California recently, and he is one of the biggest comic art snobs that I know. And when I showed him the full color artwork from one of your recent projects, you could tell it, he was ready to dismiss it out of hand. So he glanced at it, looked away, and looked back immediately and just went, "Oh, wow." And for your work to get that kind of praise from my friend Mark is really, really remarkable, if you will. So yeah, check out, I think it's mavinga.com is his website, but just do a search for JP Mavinga on Instagram. If you have the means and you like what you see, then subscribe to his Patreon, because it's really cool stuff watching his process. Yeah. And we got Steve131 in the house from across the big pond. Good to see you too, dude. I'm probably going to be over your way very soon, like, I don't know, 6 months or so. Yeah, go back and watch the beginning of the show. It's all there. Most of it. It's getting out of hand. Yeah, you're right. Well, yeah, 2.5 hours is too much. That's annoying, right? I'm not a big fan. Historically, I've not been a big fan of glass cabinets, and one of the reasons that I haven't done a room tour video, is because I'm still trying to figure out the best way to shoot all my stuff that's in glass cabinets without having to deal with the reflections from my lights. So, we'll see. Now there are 2 of them. Nice. Now there are 2 of them. Sorry, I didn't catch that. But now, yeah, thank you. The new Moff looks beautiful, a fingerprint magnet for sure. Yes, definitely. And you could tell that this is not nearly as shiny as, or maybe it's just become weathered over time by exposure to the elements, and I'm just in denial. But yeah, the difference in the portraits. Hot Toys has really stepped up the game. And I should be ending this stream right now and moving on to other things, but I just can't stop. Let me just spin this around. Yeah, that looks like 2 entirely different people. My God. Like, part of me wants to... Oh my God, yeah. It's night and day, man. The 6-scale world is always evolving. The people who create these pieces of work are evolving themselves as artists. New technology is coming into play. And it's a really exciting time right now to be a 6-scale aficionado. Aficionado. Why do I always mispronounce that word? Aficionado. And yeah. Oh. Okay, kids, got to run. Laura Keyless. So do I. We're going to wrap up these last few comments. You're welcome, JP. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how frequently I'm going to be able to do this. I know I'll do a show next week. I have plans the weekend after that, so I won't be able to do a Saturday morning show. But after that, well, stay tuned. And last but not least, Keith Lee is asking if there is any update on your upcoming show in September. Yes, I currently am in possession of all the raw files that I need to round out the show. But for those who are just tuning in and who have not been made aware of it in a previous live stream, I was chosen by Webster University, my alma mater, to be the featured alumnus at their annual, at the opening for their gallery season for 2025. So for a few weeks there at the really freaking posh Kumunjian Gallery, I think is what it's called. It's, oh God, it's an alumnus who whose name is difficult for me to pronounce. At any rate, it's they're featuring my work, my 6-scale photography, in a gallery show for a few weeks at Webster University here in St. Louis it's in September. I want to say September 17th, but that's actually when my car crash happened. So I'll have to get back with you guys on exactly when that is. And if you're in town, in St. Louis and want to show up for the opening reception for that, it's wow. Let me just see if I can just guess. Maybe it's actually in my calendar. And then I've got to call. I've really got to bring it into the stream. It's getting ridiculous. Wow. Oddly enough, I don't have it in my calendar yet, but I want to say that it's on the 5th or the 12th of September this year. From 5 to 7, there will be an opening gallery reception at the gallery, and I'll have to give a speech. And there's free wine, free soda, free food. I don't think there's pizza, but there's like cookies and charcuterie and all kinds of goodies. So yeah, if you're in the area and want to pop on in and say hi, that'd be great. But I'll keep you guys updated more on that as the date gets closer. And that's it. That's all I got to say about that for now. Thank you so much for tuning in for the first show back after a several month hiatus. And hope you'll be back with me next week when I unbox and pose up something else. I don't know. Got a long list of figures down there to take care of. So again, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, as always, be good to your plastic.